how to manifest the 100K month version of yourself without going broke. It is not spending money that's going to make you more money. If you're trying to hit a financial goal and you're putting yourself in the red, that's a problem, right? Welcome to the High Vibe Life podcast, where we are obsessed with all things manifestation, neuroscience, personal growth, and quite simply, living a life beyond our wildest dreams. I'm Moira Casava, author, speaker, podcaster, manifestation, and mindset master. Since getting sober 25 years ago, I've helped tens of thousands of women break through and achieve massive levels of wealth, joy, and freedom. Now it's your turn. Let's dig in. Welcome back to the podcast. What a fun episode today. How to manifest the 100K month version of yourself without going broke. Now, we don't need to use necessarily 100K months. I just had a question come in from one of my listeners. I just was on my Instagram stories last week, and I was like, hey, what do you guys want to hear? What can I answer in the pod? And somebody said, hey, I really have a goal clearly for 2025 to hit 100K months. How do I do that without going broke? And I was like, oh, yes, I love this question. This is all about identity, showing up in the energy and the frequency of that person. So yes, I'm specifically talking to kind of that money goal, but that money goal is totally different for everybody, right? It might be 10K months. It might be, 100K year. It could be whatever you want it to be. But let's talk about how we actually get there to a financial goal, to a financial new place without feeling like, well, doesn't that mean I have to spend this and spend this? I have to spend like that, $1 million earner would spend? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I also want to ask you this. If you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, will you drop in the comments? Because guys, we got to proclaim our goals, right? We got to put it out there. We got to own it. What is your financial goal for 2025? Even if it can be kind of a year-long goal, a monthly goal, a weekly goal, what does that look like for you? Put it in the comments, claim it, and own it. All right. So listen. When we talk about somebody doing $100,000 months, that's crazy. It's crazy awesome. Spending money did not make that person $1 million earner, right? I think about this for myself. I had a 7-figure goal many years ago. I didn't become a $1 million earner because I bought a Louis Vuitton bag, right? It's kind of crazy when you put it that way, but that's what we have to kind of detangle is spending money doesn't make people top earners, right? What makes people $1 million earners or 6-figure earners or whatever it is who they are in the world. It's the energy that they're showing up as. It's the energy of what they're showing up in, right? It's like when I go out into the world, and I can remember this so vividly. Let me go way back when I had a goal of making $100,000 a year. I would wake up in the morning and think, I have to be this person, right? If I am a 6-figure earner, how does that person show up? Do they crush their morning workout? Do they read their personal growth? Do they show up with confidence to the meeting? Do they, do they manage their time so that they're not running around with their hair on fire? There were certain ways of being in the world and showing up in my world that were radically different from when I wasn't doing that, right? So it had nothing to do with spending money. Now, I will say that there are times that I am like, oof, I really should invest in this, and it's stretching me and it's uncomfortable, but I know 6-figure earners, 7-figure earners invest in themselves. So I want to give you a little bit of some leeway here. So if you've ever heard me talk business and entrepreneurship, I am a huge believer in wildly investing in your personal and business growth, right? My business coach is $100,000 a year. And a lot of people would think that is crazy, but not when I, get back tenfold that, right? So I've always recognized that I need to look at my income and take a percentage of that and invest it, right? If I'm making $1 million and I want to say it's 10%, then I should invest $100,000 a year in my personal and professional growth. If I'm making $100,000 a year, I need to take $10,000 and invest it in my personal and professional growth. So you do have to kind of have these metrics of like, oh, this is what these people do without being completely irresponsible. The last thing I ever want anyone to do is overinvest when they don't have the money. If you're trying to hit a financial goal and you're putting yourself in the red, that's a problem, right? So you might also look and say, oh gosh, Moira can invest $100,000 a year in her business coach. I would love to do that. I want to be where she's at financially, but that would be the worst thing you could ever do. You could learn from that same person through books, through podcasts. Maybe you buy a $300 course versus the $100,000 one-on-one investment, right? There's so many other ways that you can invest and you can stretch your dollars to still be emulating those actions, emulating those behaviors, doing what those people do without actually investing that much. But again, where we usually get stuck on this is superficial things. We're thinking about like, well, I should be able to just go out to dinner at the fanciest restaurant in town and, drop $500. That is not what makes those people financially successful. Right? So we have to bring it back to who we are showing up as, that this is an identity shift. This is an energetic shift. So it's the perfect example too of going back to years and years and years ago when I had this crazy laser focused goal of being the top person in my entire company. So that was like a sales and leadership goal, right? And there were 400,000 people in the company. And like I show up on the scene as like number, 400,000. And I'm like, very quickly, I want to be number one. I mean, it wasn't that quickly. Like it took me a little bit of getting my wheels under me to be like, it's the craziest thing in the world to say this out loud, but I want to be number one. And so again, going back to what I was sharing in the beginning, it wasn't about anything more than like this, you almost like put on the identity, right? Like it's almost like you walk into your closet in the morning and you're like, this is who I am. Because we can wake up with the tapes of fear and insecurity and who do I think I am and imposter syndrome and, oh my gosh, my hair looks bad. Oh my gosh, I've gained 3 pounds. Like we so often wake up with like these horrible self-defeating negative tapes playing. And we have to choose that, you know what? The top person in this company, the 6-figure earner, the 7-figure earner, the 8-figure earner, doesn't let their mind entertain those negative thoughts, right? They wake up, they dial in their morning process. They get into the gym. They listen to personal growth while they're getting ready in the morning. They get their mind right. They get their time right. They schedule out their day. They show up fully focused, intentional, right? They've got their goals written out. They have their vision deep down in their soul and they're looking at it every day. Like that's the kind of behaviors, that's the kind of people we want to show up as. Usually when we have these big goals, but there's also this 2mm shift, right? How does that person that earns $100,000 a month eat breakfast? How do they carry themselves at lunch? How do they drive their car? How do they walk into the bank? How do they walk through the airport? Like put that identity on, because it is not until we step into that energy as if it's already there, as if it's already ours, as if it's already happened, that we start to close the gap between where we are and where we want to go, right? And so that is the magic. It is not spending money that's going to make you more money. It is shifting in the energy and the frequency of that. This is a lot deeper work than we think a lot of times, right? This is why I get to do this incredible work with my mastermind group, and we go deep, right? And we're constantly reminding each other of stepping into that identity on a daily basis, to the point where it one day becomes who we are. And then when it becomes who we are, we have those things in our life. So I hope this resonates with you. I hope this helps so that you're not spending money and just buying Prada purses or whatever. Don't do that. That's not going to get you there. Let me know though. Will you guys message me, write in, message me on Instagram? I would love to hear how this impacted you and how you specifically are actually taking this episode and really putting it into action in your life. Thanks for joining, guys. We will see you next week.